Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. You are in tune to the XY Spark podcast, the podcast for men. This is your boy, your men's life coach, Rolando. It is Motivation Monday. It's Motivation Monday, and we are here again. It's another cool day here in northern Alberta. Right now, outside, it's around about minus 35, and we are just here kicking it as usual as we seek to create a safe space to continue our conversations about men's mental health. We are here weekday mornings from 5:30 to 6 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And we are inviting you to continue to join us in this space as we seek to facilitate more conversations about men's mental health. Why? Because we want to make it clear to all our viewers, all our listeners, that we are very, very, very aware that men's mental health is not a myth. If you're a preacher, your mental health can be impacted. If you're a doctor, your mental health can be impacted. If you're an engineer, your mental health can be impacted. If you're an electrician, if you are an IT professional, if you work in the oil sense, if you're the CEO of a multi billion dollar company, your mental health can be impacted. If you are a celebrity in Hollywood, your mental health can be impacted. If you're a musician, your mental health can be impacted. If you are a therapist like me or a life coach, your mental health can be impacted. And what I'm saying is this, that if you identify as a man, your cultural perspectives cannot protect you from being impacted by mental health. Mental health is not a myth. And we are here to continue to create a safe space for men to talk about their mental health. We just want to let you guys know that right now you can join the live conversation on the podcast at xyspark.podbean.com. You can also join us live on YouTube, or you can join us live on TikTok. We do offer live coaching calls right here in the moment. So if you are listening in on YouTube, on TikTok, you can join us. We also want to remind you guys to continue to like, share, and subscribe to our podcasts. And for those who have already done it, we want to say XY Spark appreciates your support. We appreciate your comments. We appreciate you liking and sharing and continuing to be a part of the conversation as we seek to create a safe space for men to talk about their mental health. This is this podcast for men. And we want to also acknowledge all the women who come here every single morning. We appreciate your presence. And we want to say, please, if you have a topic that you'd like us to talk about, we say, hey, please type it in the chat. To all our TikTok followers, hey, guys, thank you, thank you, thank you. To all our YouTube subscribers, to all those who normally put comments in YouTube about how these live events have, really changed their lives. We want to say thank you. If you'd like to write a testimonial, thank you. You can also visit our website. If you're interested in accessing some of our merch, you can go on our website at xyspark.org, xyspark.org. You'll see more there about, our merch, and you can become a part of this tribe of men who are dedicated to normalizing conversations about men's mental health and continue to empower men to be the best version of themselves. This morning, it's Monday, and our topic that we want to speak about today is uh, mindset, marriage, and money. Mindset, marriage, and money. Hey, I see all those who are joining us live on TikTok. Shout out to you. We appreciate you. And guys, thank you for being here every single morning. So, our topic today is mindset, marriage, and money. Or if you want to say money, marriage, and mindset. Let's have a conversation today. Are you guys ready for us to chat? Let's chat. Now, I wanted to tell you guys a story, as we start. And why did I consider this? I'm privileged enough, and I say privileged enough to right now I know at least two couples who've been married 50 years or more. Right? 50 years or more. So I know at least two couples that I interact with from time to time who have been married for over 50 years. Okay? And it was really when I heard it because I'm thinking, man, these people were married long before my eyelashes were formed in my mom's womb. Right? And I'm thinking, how did they do it? What was the secret? What brought them? And one of the things that I plan to do is, one of these days, I'm going to sit down with, one of these couples and just chat with them, what's the secret to your success? How did you do it? All right. And so I really wanted to talk about marriage this morning because marriage is something that a lot of men, I'm not going to say most men, a lot of men, they are interested in marriage. They're interested in, sharing their lives with somebody special, someone specific, someone who they can, build, a healthy space to function within. And a lot of men have tried marriage and they haven't had much success. All right. A lot of men fear marriage because they grew up in an environment where they saw their mom and dad, separated after a number of years, and they are still living with the scar of what they saw. So, for a lot of men, when they hear the word marriage, it creates mixed feelings. Why? Because there are some men who they can look back and say, hey, my dad, my mom, they were married for years, but they were miserable. So I'm not sure I want to get married. There are some men who may say, well, hey, I've tried the married thing once or twice or three times and it didn't work out. So now they avoid marriage like the measles. Right? But then there are men who say, hey, you know what? I have seen and experienced a healthy, happy marriage growing up. My mom and dad were together for years. And because of that, they are encouraged to say, hey, I want to see what that is like to have a companion, to have someone around me who we can work together and create a healthy space within which to succeed, within which to survive. All right. So the question, for contemplation, the first question is, what's your perspective about marriage? What has been your experience about marriage? As a man, do you see marriage as something that's, a good thing, or do you see marriage as something that, hey, I should not, I won't even think about it. I like my own space. I'm not ready for that level of commitment. I don't want it. And if you're a man and you're in that space where you're like, hey, marriage is not for me, guess what, guys? I'm not going to say to you, why not? It's a personal decision, right? And so if you feel like, hey, it's something that I don't want to be a part of, I have to respect your decision. I'm not a guy who's going to say to you, hey, dude, what's wrong with you? No, it's a personal decision. All right. Not every man on the planet is going to get married. Okay, and I'm okay with that. So, what has been your experience? Is it something that are you married right now? All right. And if you're married right now, how is it going? Is there room for improvement? Are you a guy that right now you're married, and your partner is saying, hey, we need to work on this, we need to go get help, we need to seek to address issues in the marriage? Are you that guy who is living in that space in your mind where you're pretending that everything is okay and it's not. So, how are you living and enjoying the marriage process? All right. Do you fear the marriage process? What has been your exposure to it? Are you someone that was married and you're now divorced, and that divorce has left a huge scar, emotional scar, or psychological scar, or financial scar, which is a story that I've heard so many times of from a lot of men who have gone through years of a relationship, and then later they're told, hey dude, I love you but I'm not in love with you, so I would like us to separate. And how do we, and we're going to talk about how do we prevent our relationship from getting to that place, because we're talking about marriage, and in one of our podcasts we're going to talk about how do we work on preserving our marriage relationship. Because a lot of times, men, we do a lot, we overcompensate, but the thing that we're missing is, am I focusing on doing a lot in the wrong areas? Because sometimes we can end up doing that, and instead of thinking that we're doing good to the marriage, we're actually harming it. So we want to seek to learn more, and we'll talk more about that. So marriage. Then we want to talk about money, right? Money. This is the all important, and what did you say, never ending conversation. And sometimes I wish that as men we would talk about our mental health as often as we talk about money. Right? A lot of us as men, guys, I wish we would talk about our mental health as often as we talk about making money. We spend time, to pay attention to the stock market, to invest. We spend time to pay attention, to look at ways that we can make money and make more of it. We spend time to educate ourselves. We spend time to become masters of our craft if we're in the trades. We spend time to find the next project to see how we can do well at it. We spend time in creating businesses and seeking to grow it. We spend time to talk about everything that is known to man as it relates to making money. And I'm saying, it would be, what would it be, or what would it look like if we would spend some time, at least 25% of the time that we spend talking about making money, going to meetings, all right, trying to find new investors, trying to find new business partners. If we would spend 25% of the time talking about our mental health, 25% of the time we spend to talk about making money, spend 25% of that time to talk about how do we pay attention to our mental health as men. I believe that, guys, it would bring a huge shift in the way we live our lives and in the relationships that we have with ourselves and everybody else. And if 25% sounds too much, I would say if as men we spend 10% of the time that we spend talking about money to talk about our mental health, I'm telling you, we'd have some happier homes, some happier families, we'd have a happier community in which to operate. Right? Just recently, I spoke to you guys about, a huge outbreak. I call it an outbreak of intimate partner violence and domestic violence that is happening in places around Canada. I'm just talking about Canada right now. It's going on all over, all over. But in Canada alone, there was a huge story about, six women losing their lives within 3 months in just one province. And I mentioned this before, and I mentioned it again. All right. And all of that is happening because men are not paying attention to their mental health. We spend time to really talk a lot about a lot of different things, but when we hear about mental health, it's almost as if it's an undiscussed topic. As men, we don't talk about it. We fear talking about our mental health. We shy away from acknowledging that our mental health is in crisis, right? But it would be so powerful, guys, and I'm going to reiterate this, if we would spend 10% of the time that we spend talking about money to talk about our mental health. Okay? I just want to take time to reset the room, just to tell you guys that you're in tune to the XY Spark podcast. This is the podcast for men where we seek to have conversations about men's mental health, where we seek to create a safe space to talk about men's mental health, because we know that men's mental health is not a myth. And it does not matter what is your race, class, ethnicity, or sexual orientation. If you are a man, your mental health can be impacted. You are not immune. And so we want to say, let's come into this space and let's talk about how we can empower men to be the best version of themselves as we continue to have conversations about your mental health. So we're talking today, our topic today is money, marriage, and mindset. All right. And we were just discussing the idea of if, as men, we would talk about our mental health as often as we talk about making money. If we would take 10% of the time that we spend talking about money to talk about our mental health, don't you think that it would help us significantly to change the landscape of our existence? So that's my second. My third point, guys, is mindset. And quite often what I've recognized being in the space of psychotherapy for over a decade and a half, what I've noticed being in this space of psychotherapy is that many of us as men, we like to wait until we hit rock bottom before we come forward and say, hey, I need support. I am struggling. My mental health is in a really bad place. That's what I've learned and noticed, that most of us as men, we tend to do that more often than not, right? And I'm saying to us men that we have to stop leaving our mental health to deteriorate to the point of when it needs CPR before we address it, right? We have to challenge ourselves more. Men, we have to be more aware. We have to be more attuned with our emotions and with our psychological selves so that we don't wait until our mental health hits rock bottom before we do something about it. So, our mindset, the mindset that you have, and the mindset that I have, it has got to be better than what it is right now. So, some of the questions that we have to seek to explore as men is, where's my mind at right now? Okay, am I in a healthy space? Am I taking care of my mental health? Okay. Am I that guy I'm in a space where, life is so busy that I don't have time to think or even pay attention to my mental health? Some of us as men, we don't even realize it, but we're operating like robots. We're operating like robots. We're operating on a three or a four-tier system. We work, we eat, we shower, we sleep. That's a cycle. We work, we eat, we shower, we sleep. That's it. And, unfortunately, there are some of us as men who we don't shower enough or we don't sleep enough because we're workaholics. We're always working. All right. So some of us, we work and we eat occasionally, or we eat. I'll eat whenever, and then we look at ourselves. We live in that cycle. We work, eat, we shower occasionally, and we sleep when we are sleep deprived. Some of us as men, when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we can see there are so many bags on our eyes. We can see it in our body language. So we want to watch our mindset. And guys, if our mindset is going to be, if we're going to have the right cultural mindset, we have to pay attention to what our needs are as men. I'm not just talking about sexual needs, guys. I'm not talking about physical needs. I'm talking about what are your psychological and emotional needs. And men, I'm going to challenge you to recognize that one of the number one things that we need to be aware of as men is our mindset. Okay, if your mindset is only it's one track, you have some of us as men, one track minded, hey, I need to go to work and I need to make money. That's great, but what next after that? Okay, and are you sacrificing your health to make wealth? And when you sacrifice your health to make wealth, do you think you can buy back your health with the wealth? Guess what? No. If that were the case, guys, some of those celebrities, some of those men who have been multi-billion, I am guaranteeing you right now, Elon Musk could, be the richest man in the world. Whatever he has created, when debt comes his way, his money can't save him. All right, it's inevitable. But if we sacrifice our health to make wealth, right, it doesn't matter how much wealth we make, and I'm going to say it here, and you can agree with me if you like or disagree. This is an open forum, but I'm saying that it doesn't matter how much wealth we make, we can't buy back our health. So we have got to have a good work life balance. That's the mindset that I want us to wrap our heads around today. Men, I'm saying it to you. Absolutely. Work hard. And the expression that we use is go hard or go home. I get it. But there's got to be a time when you are working hard to create a healthy mindset. Remember, guys, mindset makes a man or breaks a man, and you have got to seek to create the right mindset. And it is in creating the right mindset that when you decide, and if you're someone who say, hey, I want to get married, then having the right mindset will guide you into connecting with the right person who can help to nurture and facilitate a healthy relationship that you can grow into, right? It is when you have the right mindset that you'll have a good relationship with money, and you'll end up growing and becoming better at managing your money. So guys, I just want to say to you that these are some things that I would like to advise you to consider, right? Our topic this morning on the podcast, marriage, money, and mindset. And I started off by letting you guys know that I'm encouraged to have this conversation because right now I know at least two couples who have been married for 50 years or more. And I plan to go sit and talk with these couples one of these days just to hear, hey, what's the secret ingredient? Because for me, I've only been married for 12 years. Right? Only 12 years. And when I go around this person, I'm like, man, you know, it's been great, but it takes hard work to maintain marriage. How do we do it? And one of these days, guys, I want to open a live room, and for those who are married, those who are not, I want to invite you to come on into the space, guys, and let's talk about some of the challenges. Let's talk about some of the pros and cons of marriage. Guys, we don't talk about these things, and it is in talking about these things, guys, that sometimes we can change even the rate of divorce, right? The rate of relationship discomfort. It is how we can change the expression that we hear so frequent. hey, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. The marriages where the passion has been lost or the connection has been lost. We want to have those conversations, guys. And this is the space for it. This is your podcast. This is the space where, as men, we come in and we say, hey, you know what? This is what I want to go chat with on the podcast with Rolando today. Right? Thank you so much, guys, for joining us, for being here with us. This is your boy, your man's life coach, Rolando, here on the XY Spark podcast. This is the podcast for men, where we also offer live life coaching calls. So if you're live on TikTok, if you're live on YouTube, or if you're live on the XY Spark podcast on the Podbean app, you're more than welcome to join in the conversation, and let's continue to chat more about men's mental health. Why? Because men's mental health is not a myth. We want to send a shout out to all those who are live on TikTok. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. We send to you the XY Spark greeting. Okay, it's love, it's appreciation for your presence. We also want to remind you guys that we are live here every weekday morning at 5:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time until 6 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And wherever you are around the planet, we want to invite you to come on into the space and share in our conversations. Let's chat. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Hello,
How are you? What's your name, brother?
my name is Kazi.
Where are you joining us from? Morning. I see another person. Hey, where are you joining us from? How are you?
I'm listening, bro.
Good, good. Can I get your names? Can I get your names, brother?
My name is Kazi.
Kazig, where are you joining us from, Kazig? Where are you joining us from?
I'm showing my viewers how to spin furniture.
Okay, man. Good to have you. Good to have you. We're here talking about men's mental health. Okay. And today our topic was about mindset, marriage, and money. Okay. And we want to continue to encourage more men to pay attention to their mental health. All right. Don't ignore your mental health. Take time to work on yourself. It's so important for you to work on yourself. All right. Don't ignore it. Don't wait for last minute. Don't wait until you're in crisis. Right. Because your mental health matters. Right. And mental health is not a myth. Okay? And so, as men, it's very important for us to remember this and keep working and moving towards this as we grow to become the best version of ourselves. This is your boy, your men's life coach, Rolando. You were with us on the podcast. And join us again tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time as we continue to have conversations about men's mental health. Why? Because we know that mental health is not a myth. In the meantime, continue to take care of yourself. Continue to work on yourself. Continue to challenge yourself and do the work that's going to help you to become the best version of yourself. In the meantime, never ever forget that at XY Spark, we believe that there is a spark in you. We will see you again tomorrow morning, same time on the podcast. You take care, and we will talk to you again real soon. Peace out.